the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All the special.
Yeah, get that over that way.
If you make any sound, it's gonna, the owl will trap you. Oh. Right, roll call.
Mayor Eli Sealy,
Here.
Sarah Anderson. Here. Pat Bickett. Will Wolke,
Here.
Larry Rohr,
Here.
Art Schott,
Here.
Mike Tiedemann.
Here.
All right, so special meeting, to review budget. We have any items prior to budget review?
Under new business there, you got a couple change orders. To consider, and I brought these in tonight because they want to get started yet this week, so. They plan on being here, probably setting up tomorrow, so. And Gil Hagen was doing some review, and once they came down, took a look at some of the existing concrete, I don't think it was. In as good a shape as what they were hoping it was. I guess that we did not include some of the concrete work in the original plan. It kind of got a little bit outside the scope of the patio. This is gonna be directly on the back side of the. In the backside of the event center, but it actually goes over into the area that we're gonna be redoing also, so they'd like to remove that and replace that concrete. And then also there's, in the plans, it calls for some steps to be removed, going down, where the new pergola is gonna be. They're gonna eliminate part of those steps, and then they were gonna keep some, but once they got looking at those steps, there were cracks in them, so they're afraid once they start cutting on one side or the other, it's just gonna fall apart, so they'd like to replace them, so everything that will be done from the pergola over to the new addition will all be new concrete, so. It makes sense, I think, I guess we're always expect a couple little things here and there, but the pricing looked like it was pretty good as far as what they did, they had in their bids, so everything looked pretty good, and they're recommending. The architects are recommending approval of each of them, and I would have to agree after going out and looking at it with them, so.
What was the total on both?
Each of them is gonna be, the first one is, $3,036.97.
Okay.
So that we'd have to have a separate motion on each of these. And the first one is $3,036.97. And that's gonna be replaced a lot of concretes that are in tough shape. Broken, I guess.
Motion,
We need a motion, yes.
shall make a motion to replace concrete,
Just do change order number one.
change order number one. Second.
Motion second on the table to approve change order number one for the bridges at Beresford Courthouse. Patio addition. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries.
So we need another change order?
And the second change order you're looking at is gonna be for the stairs going down. They were already gonna remove on each side of them, they're just narrowing up the stairway, so we didn't have such a large amount of stairs, and then each of the stairs all have cracks in them, so.
Shall make motion for change order number two, as Jerry Simon stated, for the golf course for the stairs. Second.
Motion is second on the table for stairs or change order number two and the bridges at Beresford Courthouse patio addition. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now, preliminary budget review.
So we skipped over adopting the agenda.
Oh, my apologies. We're going to adopt the agenda. All right.
Motion to adopt the agenda. Second.
Motion and a second to adopt the agenda as written. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Agenda's been adopted.
Elaine's gonna kind of walk us through, and I'm gonna help where we need to. She's got all of her cheat sheet notes on hers. And we can send these to you too. We were still kind of updating a few of those cheats that, and we'll talk about some of the areas on each budget. We're not gonna get into any specifics unless you guys want to about some of the day-to-day type of things really don't change much from year to year. You guys can read through them, but I think we'll start with the council, and then at the end, then we'll look at the income, the revenue side of it.
So if you wanna
We'll make that work.
grab the packet that on the top says general fund.
Yep.
That's the first one that we're gonna go through. And if you go to page 3, that's where we'll start. So this is the council budget. Everything pretty much stayed the same except for underneath other current expenses. You had requested to add $30,000 for the capital improvement plan with ISG Steve Watson, so that 30,000 is the adjustment for the council.
I did talk to Sioux Valley, they have ISG do that, they got a grant to pay for half of the 30,000. Then their electric cooperative paid for like the other 10,000 of it, so he said they probably wouldn't have done it without the grants that they got, because they still end up paying $5,000 for it. But that's all it costs them, so, I mean, he said it's a good plan, you gotta use it, obviously, if you're gonna do it. He said they spent a lot of time gathering all the information for the ISG. And I think if you guys knew, Steve Watson's no longer with them, so he was the guy that you would have talked to. He's got all the development corporation, or the development contacts, he was the one with the state, ran the GOED office for about 10 years, so that's where his expertise came from, so he moved on to do his own thing, so it's still in there, if you guys wanna move forward, we sure can. It doesn't really matter to me, I know we can put something together to a 5-year capital improvement plan, using just some of the draft that they already put together, so.
There's no opportunities for grant money to help with this.
Not right now, no,
Okay.
it was a one-time deal.
Is there opportunities through other companies that maybe wouldn't cost as much?
We can look at it, yeah. I mean, pretty much any engineering firm's gonna do that for you. Seacog might even help us with it. Which is, they're just gonna come down and ask a lot of the same questions that we would probably do.
And we're already paying them.
So that would be my recommendation. And $30,000 is a lot of money to spend for
It
something
is.
that we're not, unless you're gonna have to update it every year.
I don't know what Eli thinks, but with Steve not there, I don't know. The enthusiasm, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. Enthusiasm is there.
Yeah, I mean, our enthusiasm has been tempered just, with, in their previous relationship where Steve, who had a working understanding of what we were looking for, he's left. I have talked to their engineers on one occasion since that point in time, but unless we knew that we could apply for it and would have a good chance of winning a grant, yeah, I agree. I think that there may be other opportunities we could tap into, i.e. CCOG, and or Steve now works for a company called Teton Ridge. Their primary focus is going to be economic development rather than just straight engineering. So either somewhere where we already have an existing relationship, Banner, CCOG as an organization, looking through grants to see what might be available, but I would think in 2025, we could probably take that off the budget. And then if something comes up throughout the year,
I think that's what I think that's just a lot of money to spend right now.
It is.
We're gonna come across a lot more things that we have that are probably a little more important to that, so.
Well, especially since Steve isn't there. What, is there an opportunity with Steve now where he's at too?
well, that's the thing, I don't 100% understand what Teton Ridge is, what their
Yeah.
what value they bring. My belief is that it's primarily, they would almost be a competitor with Sioux Metro Growth Alliance. I mean, I think they're a company, but I think they're also looking for businesses that we could potentially bring to town, like small businesses, medium-sized businesses that would tap into some of the resources. that we have available.
I kind of agree with the mayor, and then what do you agree?
Yeah, I don't think it would hurt to just take the next year off and say, okay,
Right.
we'll reevaluate. Yeah,
Well, what do you think?
I'm for
Okay, Jerry, meetings, right?
I mean, whatever you guys wanna do, I mean, I would probably hold off on doing it right now, we got lots of other bills to
Well, we
pay this
got
year.
5 plus the mayor, so.
I say we take that off for now, but we do look for opportunities.
If something comes up, like we have a game, yeah, exactly, I don't, that would be a one-time deal, and
Yeah.
we took part in that, and it might come up again.
Okay,
will we need to act on anything along the way or just make changes that will?
Tonight we'll just make some changes.
Yeah, I don't think we need to make motions, as long
Yeah,
as. you
no
guys are
motions,
okay.
no motions,
I
no,
mean, if this got to kind of, if we wanna do, we guys.
so there's
Just
a little bit
discussion.
of, you know,
Yeah.
discussion only.
Okay.
Were there any other questions on the council budget?
Everything else looks,
I think you, under dues, you did have the Sioux Metro Growth Alliance in there, that's 6,600. a year, so that's a little bit, and, we've kind of ran contingency funds in that $30,000 area for quite a few years. It seems like it works for us.
Yeah, underneath that line item, it's Sioux Metro Growth Alliance at 6,600 and CCOG at 3,909.
Yeah, so if we remove that 30. That brings the number down in the totals count and the totals row down to something that's much more consistent with.
It would be 72,800.
So below what we, last year, the 59,990.88, that was. Is that also an engineering expense or? And that would be other professional services, 9/30/2024.
Sorry,
That's right.
where are you at?
Other professional services, 9/30/20, so in the, next to the 2025 budget column. In the current state budget.
The 59.
Yeah,
Thousand, yeah.
Okay, yep, so that is what we've paid to date. For CCOG and. The municipal league.
CCOG does charge for certain things from time to time, but we usually have a contract if they do that. What was the other professional services at 59,000? Do you happen to have a note on that one?
Yes. It is, the HRC Bach Housing Development.
Okay. So we'll get reimbursed for some of that.
Yeah.
Okay, once we get the TIF put together. So we gotta get the project rolling first before they'll borrow some money on the TIF, so.
got it.
Good. Okay, so moving on to. The mayor. It pretty much stayed the same other than, Eli, you had requested that I add. For the mayor's mile to increase the.
Yeah.
For the mayor's mile, so that's the only. Change.
So just what's under other current expense, what do you pay out of there, Elaine?
So that is the mayor's mile. Employee Christmas luncheon and employee recognition.
You know, one thing I'm gonna try to do this year is take advantage of the mayor's mile to tout the benefit that's being brought to the community through the health council. And I'm gonna try to add some incentives for the kids that are going to participate in the mayor's mile, so. Maybe one spot there, we would spend a few more dollars, but I'll try to be judicious and make sure that we stay either the same as what we spent in the past or less. Let's see. 42,900.
So continuing on to the city administrator. There has absolutely no changes other than, an increase in wages, which also affects the FICA and the retirement.
Did we vote on the department head yet?
We don't vote on anything tonight. Should be.
Oh, so how did you come with that figure? A what if?
It's just an estimate.
Oh, okay, well, what did you estimate?
I estimated 5%.
We use that for all the department heads to begin with, or we even did the negotiating with everyone else, so we have 5% across the board for everybody. To start with.
Are there any questions on the city administrator budget? Right, we will move on to the finance office. Again, the only big change was the salaries, which affects the FICA and the retirement. We are getting a new printer copier, and so with that comes a service agreement, so there is a an increase in can't remember where I put it.
Rentals?
Furniture and office equipment towards the very bottom.
Yeah, yes. So otherwise, there's no changes there either.
And the one she has, I think they usually last about 5 years for us. We've kept that one for 8 years.
Yeah,
So it's, you know, we've been pretty lucky. It hasn't completely blown up, but.
it's making a lot of
They don't last
noises
long,
today.
typically. We use it a lot. We put all our bills and everything on it, so payroll checks, everything goes through that copier. They've actually come down in price. They used to be 6,000 to 7,000, but a copier probably did half of that.
Where are you with computer software support for the department?
So the cloud,
Yeah,
we hit a wall, a hard wall.
okay,
So we're still working on it and we have March, a relaunch date of March.
That's G Works.
Yeah. And it came mainly from them. That they weren't ready to take on as many clients as they did, and so. We opted with the move to just wait and then we'll.
Okay.
Start again.
so any expenses related to that are here?
Yep.
Under,
Let's see. Hmm. Other professional services.
okay,
You anticipate the 15 will cover whatever you need for that?
Yeah,
You guys ever want to buy a printer copier? There's a lot of salesmen out there, right?
mhm.
Once you let them know, once your lease is up on those things, the day lane has 6 calls from copier sales.
Mhm.
I'll watch those leases when they're done.
And actually, we were able to get this new copier underneath the state bid.
Yeah.
Less than, they wanted our business, so they worked for it. Okay, moving on, unless you have some questions?
Cool.
City attorney, absolutely no changes.
I just got one question. That project Jerry, that project that's with this builder over there, you said that we got insurance that. Our other lawyer that's on that case, is that part of this or is that separate?
Separate. It's
Do
not
we
a
get the
bureau.
numbers on that ever?
The insurance is paying for that, right?
We don't get no numbers on that or anything?
What do you want for this, for the budget review? You want the numbers for that?
Well, what are we paying for the year on the other project? I mean, or the other expense, do we pay them anything? Or is that part of our premium?
That's part of the insurance. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
from Jensen or
Yeah,
whatever?
we have insurance that covers any of the deeds any decisions that this board, city administrator, finance officer made. So when we get into that, then the insurance kicks in to take care of those.
And that's Jensen?
Yes, they sell the insurance through. Not EMC, it's EMC, right?
All right.
yeah, they broker to an independent.
Okay, all right, that's what I wanted to know. All right, thank you.
Okay. So then moving on to general government buildings, so this would be for the council chambers, the city hall, and then the new office. It's pretty much the same.
And the government buildings, we're gonna eventually get an estimate on the city hall and this one, what we might get if we sell it.
Yep, so that's gonna be on the revenue side that we'll
Oh,
talk
okay,
about
all right,
when
all
we
right.
get through all the expense.
Okay,
side.
all right, thank you.
And the improvements to 242 is with the transition.
Yes, the 242 is to purchase the 101 South Third Street.
Okay.
And then also the land that was purchased north of First Dakota.
Okay,
And then the expenses that we've taken on to fix over there, the drywall, the painting. The furniture down payment. Security cameras, security door, handicap bathroom for what we've paid so far.
okay.
Are you covering most of that under your budget, or is the telephone office carrying some of theirs too?
So it's all underneath the government buildings,
Okay,
because the telephone office does a transfer at the end of the year to the
Okay.
general fund, and so then that's where.
thank you.
Mhm. Does anyone have any questions on the government building? Okay, we'll move on to the police department. The police department received another, federal overtime grant of $8,000, so you'll see that underneath, line item full-time overtime pay. And that is reimbursed at 100%. And then, over the $8,000 is the regular overtime of 15,000.
Does something have to kick in to put that grant in motion, or that's just,
There's paperwork that they've been doing to
Okay.
apply for the grant.
Okay.
And then, once they have on their time card when they're actually doing federal overtime.
okay,
And then-
it's related
Yep,
to a
yep.
federal related activity,
And
okay.
then there's a report sent off, and then we get reimbursed for it, and then I put it back in here.
Okay.
Police department looks like they have some stake in the game as far as their move to for buildings and improvements.
Yes,
And then, second page, 43,200.
so that is that 11,222 underneath buildings and improvements is the garage.
Got it.
And isn't telephone paying part of that too?
Yes,
Okay,
and so it was broke out by each one, and then each
Gotcha.
department was expensed.
This is expenditure, but do we have a revenue for the police for their tickets?
Yep, that's on the revenue that we're gonna talk about.
Okay,
when we're all
all
done
right,
with
okay, just so I
expenses.
know.
Yep.
No
And
problem.
then, underneath machinery and auto, they are requesting for, a patrol car as the 2024 order was canceled. They're looking to get the same Ford Interceptor, but a 2025 black, exact same one that they have.
It's a hybrid, just like they have,
Yes.
so. We're we budgeted less for motor fuel because they are using less fuel than they
I
have.
wondered about that.
Yeah. And of course, the price of fuel right now is down too,
Yeah.
but we don't know that to be next year at all, so we did make some adjustments down and fuel on most of our places, but not significantly there, because we really don't know what could happen.
so the money they budgeted this year, does that carry over?
No, none else will, no.
Okay,
But hopefully that will offset his garage that he is putting up.
okay,
What usually happens if we don't spend it, we call it cash on hand, it's money that we had left over at the end of the year that we didn't spend. And then we can use that in the next year's budget or the next year's budget, so
Okay.
we kind of keep that in mind, if there's something that we didn't purchase and it was budgeted for, and it rolls. They have to re-budget for it, but they don't have, it doesn't necessarily mean the cash went away, it's still there, so.
right, okay,
So,
thank you.
So, Chief Shirk has put in $50,000 for this car, but the quote actually came in at 47.5, so that would give him a little bit to
we've been buying them out of Nelson Ford, I think it's in Minnesota,
Fergus Falls, Minnesota.
Fergus Falls, and.
Does
they've
that
been
cover all the
good.
upgrades that he needs to put on?
Yeah, that's everything, pretty much, yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, it
But not the,
It may not include all of his other stuff, so that's, we may have to look at that a little bit closer.
Oh, the light bar,
Yeah, so some of that adds up pretty quickly.
yeah, I don't think those are included on.
Okay.
We'll look at that.
Find out what that's gonna be additional. Put that in.
So if that 50 may go up, maybe a little closer to the number that was budgeted for this past year.
Yeah, okay, it's probably close to that 10,000. The idea is that if we can continue buying these Explorers, that we can use the same equipment unless they change the vehicle to the point where our stuff don't fit anymore, so.
Right,
This will be our third Explorer. I think we have 2 Explorers now, and then
Yes.
the Tahoe, which we'll talk about that, so we can get rid of that one.
They'll figure out how to switch that up on the Jared. So they have a new.
So,
And then,
we'll highlight that, we'll add something to there, we'll talk to Mike, see what those numbers might be.
and then also, he is noted that the firewall is outdated, in the police department. And so underneath miscellaneous fixed assets, he has added to update the firewall. And then, he also has 2 radars with the, federal overtime grant. And those are $3,190, and the, grant will reimburse 80%.
We could
We
add
need
that,
to add that
we could
too.
add that in,
Yeah.
so. I was thinking about when I was reading through that a little bit ago, I still thought about that.
The firewall, are we talking technical firewall, or are we talking physical?
Physical, like, technology computers.
Oh, okay, okay. So they actually have to buy the appliance, this isn't part of the managed services that Austin gets with?
No.
Okay.
Really?
I wonder if there has to be separate, higher level of sensitivity security,
Could be.
but.
Okay, are there any other questions with the police budget?
Hmm.
Okay, we'll move on to the fire department. A slight increase, and it is mainly due to the, it's the lodging of the fire school.
Last year, we had a whole bunch of firemen go, the water council a little closer, so it seems like you get more people that wanna go up there, so. I think we have 13 firemen go up there, we pay for the lodging, I mean. We help with meals if we can, let this year, all we could do was we use the meals and lodging. Just to pay for the lodging, so they didn't get reimbursed for their meals, the firemen, they have a different account that they did reimburse out of, though, for part of it anyhow. I think it's a good thing. I've been on there, I went to quite a few schools over the years, and you do appreciate that when you go there. They take 3 or 4 days off from their other job to do it, and they really don't get paid anything else, so it's kind of nice that they can go up and enjoy a little bit, and we take care of some of their meals for them.
And then they also connect with surrounding communities, and I think when it comes to mutual aid, it's a benefit just to know who your firemen are in your neighboring communities. Also, the very last line item where it says transfer to reserves, we have used the 10% and 2% malt beverage and liquor tax to put in reserves for the fire department. But with the purchase of the new fire truck, we're gonna continue putting it here, but it will be put into reserves to repay back the telephone and the electric department. And then once that's paid off, then the reserves will continue to go back to the fire department. We're thinking.
We don't have to
forward.
do that, but we thought, we've got the funds coming in, and this is how we bought that truck to begin with, the old one that fell apart on us. That's how we did that, we repaid it over a period of about 5 years, and that's all it'll take, at 20,000 a year to each of them. For the 100,000 they each took out of their budgets in order to, I shouldn't say their budgets, but out of the cash that they had in reserves, so.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if something changes and we need to do something different, you guys can do just like this when the fire truck. But you guys made a decision to buy a different one, so.
You did that, or it's gonna take more than 45 cars to get to King Fires.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Are we selling the other truck for, auction or scrap or whatever? That's on the other sheet, right?
No, we haven't done it, we didn't do anything with that because we don't know what they wanna do.
Oh, I thought we talked about it, and he was maybe gonna
Maybe
do
something,
it.
hang a flag out there by the interstate when we have a homecoming or something, I don't know, all kinds of different
Alright, so
options.
I thought we were gonna take
And
the
the coyotes are
tires
playing
off.
down there and people
Try to
drive by,
scrap
they
it.
can see coyote flag on it.
Wow, every penny counts.
I have no problem with that.
Well, when you're driving on I-90, you see all those fire trucks advertising the
Firehouse.
firehouse. Yeah,
Won't it have to be towed out to?
No, we can drive it that far as long as you stop and fill up the water a couple times. We were just about out of water when they got there, the fire department really stored right now.
Wow.
it was kind of sad to see it sit there.
And it's a nice looking truck. That's not gonna be worth a whole lot.
Maybe we put it in the park.
We could spell.
Yeah.
Let the kids fall off it. And I bet the bell would go over very well.
Always had one. The old days, they had tanks and
Mhm.
artillery guns and cannons and.
Sherman Park.
Yeah.
Could be a landmark for us.
Something to decorate in the wintertime.
Mhm.
The landscape out there between, past where ambulance used to be, birds, the open spots now being created and then Grossenberg, I mean, it's. Got a lot of, I say there is some real estate out there. To create something that's, beyond, we have some great welcome signs, but. Maybe that would be, I don't know that a 102-foot ladder truck. Is the best use, but
We appreciate our volunteers.
yeah,
Yes.
And there we go.
yes, yeah.
Or maybe during Fire Prevention Week, it could be brought out there, and maybe Veterans Day, or maybe Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Yeah.
It's a lot of water to get it out there.
Let's put a for sale sign on
Yeah. Okay, any more questions on the fire department? Okay, moving on to the street. This one actually went down, and it was mainly due to, last year, Jeff purchased the, L70H global loader. This year he has a request, see if I can find my note here. For a single axle hydraulic plow mount dump truck, estimate cost of $152,000. And also a new 1-ton Chevy Silverado extended cab truck for $50,000, and that is a quote or a price from the South Dakota State bid.
It's a work truck, it's your basic truck.
That's what that 202,000 is?
Yes, yep.
Okay, say those numbers again.
So find my note. The single axle hydraulic plow mount dump truck is $152,000.
And they would use that primarily for moving snow?
No,
No. That's-
what we do right now, we'll use both of the plows, our front end loaders, we got them. And then what we would do is this one here would replace two of the ones that we have right now, a 99 and a 90. They're both single axle trucks and both of them are in pretty tough shape. So we would put a plow on this one, but it would primarily be used for putting gravel down and or sand down and for plowing. So Keith would run that one still, and then the other two guys would run Tanner and Jeff would run the other ones, and then we have a backhoe going around pushing snow back at corners and stuff like that.
So we would be taking two trucks out of service,
Yep.
putting this one in, and this is brand new,
Mhm.
It would be.
okay?
And we're not gonna get another plow, the plow mount that we're gonna put on it will fit the existing plows that we have.
Great value in the other two trucks,
Yeah, not much,
Yeah, we're gonna
four
talk about
and 8,000 probably, yeah.
and how much for the pickup?
The 50,000.
Yeah. And what we'll do is we'll use this other one and pass his down to somebody else, and we'll probably keep in the street, and then the worst street one goes to the park department typically, and then we'll take the worst truck out of there and then put that on probably Purple Wave. Might get $2,000, that's kind of what we get for this kind of stuff. Surprising that some of this equipment breaks, even though it's not in the best of shape, so.
And it's that reduction in the machinery auto, that capital that's primarily responsible for the overall lower.
Right.
Yeah, you see, but we have 362 budgeted there, and we're not gonna spend that this year, so it's pretty much rolling that in.
Okay.
For the new truck that she wanted this year, and we opted to do just the plow for the other front end loader we have.
The street maintenance projects, the $100,000 is the chip seal and fog. It's like what we've done the past couple of years.
Did you notice anything? And I mean, the chip seal agreement, we co-op with other communities, did that come through?
Yeah, Banner did it this year because the two engineers that they had both quit the roads, so we went with Brand Banner.
Right.
So I think it worked pretty good.
We
It seems
haven't
like
received the invoice yet,
Okay.
but it was very smooth from what I could see.
it was the same guys that ended up doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aztec.
And did we cover the same area that we normally would cover?
Yeah, I've got some square footages, I just gotta kind of add it all up here. I did measurements along each of the roads that we did, so I'll measure the width of the road and see how much we covered.
Well, because I'm wondering if we need to increase that, if we don't want to fall behind on maintaining the streets.
Yeah, just it gets more and more expensive every year.
Cause I mean, how long have we been budgeting 100? Pretty much. That's 2 years for sure.
98, 100, 100.
I think 2009, 10, 11's off there, it used to be like 30,000, we could do a lot more. But now it's just,
He did a lot of asphalt on this year too.
Maybe probably figure out if we did as much as we did prior with that under, or do we need to increase
we
it?
could, I mean, it probably would make sense, I know we've been trying to do more asphalt work too. To replace all those spots that are falling apart, so we probably move more into the asphalt area.
But they're not gonna do the parking lot now,
No,
right?
that'll be a big project, because Jeff said, we can only haul so much at a time, and, these guys will come in with 5, 6 trucks backed up, one after another. We haul our truck and pop up there, and then we have to wait. We put 2 down, and then by the time they get down here, it's already starting to cool off, and for smaller projects, they can do it, but not that big, Jeff, but it's just, we have one breakdown, it's gonna be sitting there with.
Figure out the footage we covered and if we need to increase it a little bit.
Yeah.
Catch up.
We'll look at that, I'll highlight that, we'll do.
Good idea.
Are there any other questions on the street budget? Okay, moving on to the mosquito. It all really depends on the summer. How much we use, so this year we only used $155. But there is a grant available, is it a $3,000?
The thing, the grant's basically within your population pretty much, so we have $2,000. We had about 2 years worth of mosquito chemicals on hand, so we didn't even apply for it last year. Because we hadn't used them, maybe we didn't want them to expire on us and stuff, so we didn't even apply, so that's the reason we probably haven't spent much again this year. We had it on hand, but they are getting down, we said we might have had to buy some, if it would have continued on as wet as it was. But it changed, obviously, it didn't rain for the last 2 months or 3 months, so. So we didn't really need to spray much more, so anyhow, that's kind of where we're at, we're gonna apply for the grant when that comes out, usually we know the first part of June if we get it or not.
So does that 3,500 cover the $2,000 grant we'll get?
It's, the budget includes, we've got the revenue side for $2,000 is where we have that, so it'll cost us $1,500 now.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we got that on the other side.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on to the park budget.
I'll just say,
Yeah.
we're still running on all of the expenses that we have for the new ball fields through a different account. We're keeping this, and they're not running all that through here, it comes to a different account, so they're gonna keep that open to pay all those bills, so we haven't accounted for a lot of that other stuff that might still have to be paid there, so.
I just got 2 questions on the parks. There's a Flyers Club and a Gun Club part of the parks.
Yep.
Do we pay for any more plywood or nails like we used to years ago?
No,
The reason
The
why I'm
gun
asking
club,
because,
they haven't paid anything this year.
the reason why I'm asking, because I think I saw a sign at Ace a while back. They raised all their fees, but they got plenty of money in the treasury. I'm just saying. I was just wondering.
Yep.
All right,
No.
thank you.
Well,
We have-
what do we do for the airplane club?
It is a portable toilet.
Can we do the same for the gun club? Or I guess they have a,
So they have a restroom in
Yeah.
their little,
they just don't open up
Clubhouse.
these days around.
yeah.
Well, at the gun club, we had at least for 15 years. And they got quite a bit of grants. I think it was like $30,000 or $40,000. They put in those skeet shooting spots, so. We gave them the 15-year lease and they got quite a bit of grant money. They got quite a bit of money in their savings right now, so they're in a different ballgame.
We can pay for the porta potty, there's a lot of trees
Yeah.
out there.
that's just,
Indecent exposure. So underneath the buildings and grounds, Kelly has a few projects in the park that he would like to take on, and trees for the baseball fields and a cart lift for the new shop is on his list for 2025.
That's under the building improvements.
Yep, buildings and grounds. It increased last year, he had 10,000, he increased it to 25,000.
Which I think that would be nice, to get a lift where you can actually lift the mowers up when they're working on them rather than trying to work on the ground off of them.
Yes.
Especially if the wheel falls off.
Yes.
Well, and that and safety too. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want something falling on them.
I was there one day, I think, when the one of the lower axle
Oh.
broke and fell off, so.
Where are you, can you tell me where you're talking about these expenses again?
Buildings and grounds is code 42501.
Oh,
It's
okay,
25,000. Yep.
okay,
So yeah, he has some projects in the park.
Okay.
Trees for the baseball field and a cart lift for the new shop.
trees for which baseball field?
Well, seeing as it says baseball field, I'm assuming
Is it
that
the
it's
old
the
one? Okay.
one, yeah,
I got one
Which
question.
one, where are you thinking?
the baseball.
Oh,
field.
baseball.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably for the north.
You do? Okay, I'm not sure. When I hear baseball field, I think there, but
I just got one question.
Trees.
Parks.
Already talking about the trees up there, so.
And a couple other seniors, Ray Trudy and a couple other seniors. They saw a couple of trees getting cut down in the park, which I'm sure it's gonna be more because there's 4 or 5 dead ones. They did plant some smaller ones. They wanted to know if they're gonna replace the trees that are getting cut down. I looked at it and I think there's 3 or 4 more they're gonna cut down.
that might be his, where he says projects and parks.
Okay, yeah, right. I'm just saying, because they were asking about it. And I said, I'm gonna review it next year and talk.
Talk about donating too, we take donation for trees, we usually get it out at the golf course a couple every year. The men's
That's
league,
good.
the men's league used to pay for a few trees out there.
Small trees or big ones?
Well, obviously, the bigger, the better, just because, when you get kids running around the park, they have a tendency not to,
They tear it up.
well, they just break it over. It's pretty easy to bend them over if they're a sapling or something like that, so you want something that's got a little bit of girth to it.
I think both the senior men and senior women's league. They're part of a weekly fee, you throw it, money into the tree fund. And they usually get 6 or 7 trees that they plant. They come
Well,
out,
that's good.
They actually plan themselves too, I think Kelly.
yeah, they come out, help,
Or
yeah.
Jason tells them where he thinks they should go, and that's a good deal, and then,
So
like,
they,
some of them will water them.
so when they build that garage, they're tearing down the old one by that bandstand.
That'll go down,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, then the rocks, those boulders, there's a big pile of about 50 rocks. Is that going for landscaping? They were just
I believe
asking.
they came off the rock wall.
They were on the rock, they were to be used when they did the rock wall.
Oh, so they can use those for landscaping, they're pretty big rocks, some of them.
I don't know if
That's
they
all right.
will or not, It will- otherwise, we're gonna put them back, probably take them out to the rubble site and
Oh,
store them out there.
all right, no problem. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we just moved them in there when they were doing the wall.
So a few lines down where it says machinery and vehicles, Kelly increased his budget from 5,000 to 10,000, and that is for the Ventrac attachments, which would be a baseball groomer.
We might look at moving some of them over here, Elaine, into machinery and auto under the capital item.
Okay,
Cause that's supposed to be just for repairs over there and maintenance, not for purchasing new stuff, so. So
You
that's
kind of have it all on ball field maintenance, I know it's gone up with a new ball field, you'd expect that, but I thought it might be a little more.
from
From
7,500
75
to
to 10, I thought
10,000.
maybe. I'm not sure, I just, maybe that's just a question for him, do you feel comfortable with that, or?
We can visit with them.
And that's not paying salaries, that's paying for chalk and for
Uh-huh.
agri-lime and equipment.
Yeah, and in 2023, it was 26.5. I mean, it's always been higher than 7,500. So. Yeah, I would say he needs to look at that a little closer.
Like the 3 new fields might be way higher.
Yeah,
And then you do have down an expense for the gun club 300. Is there any, we know what that's for?
Well, there's nothing budgeted this year, I don't know.
No, it says 24, that's why I was
Yeah.
wondering.
300 budgeted, zero is fine.
Maybe it was part of the lawnmower or something. I don't know. Who knows?
you're gonna have Kelly look at that a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's reflected in the building improvements going to 200 to 300,000, I don't, the building activity, shop and that, but.
It's for the to complete the parks maintenance building and golf course.
Okay,
It'll be their share of that. What else was in there, Elaine?
So there, with the North Ball Field, we received that,
it's,
Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for playground equipment.
oh, okay,
And so we have $100,000 for the grant with a 50-50 match. And so that is in here.
We budgeted the entire 100,000 in here, and
Yes.
we got 50,000 of revenue coming in on the other side, so that's costing the city $50,000 for the new playground equipment.
and that's under the building and improvements. Okay.
Yes. And then also, the Tiny Lawrence baseball field backstop of 50,000.
Yeah, that's one that's been on the list for about 5 years. So,
Did Banner ever find out what they're gonna do with the grass? Are they gonna go with the bond? Are they gonna tighten the grass? Or is that expenditure on here?
So that's a different project.
Oh,
That's the ball field edition.
oh, we're still working on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, no problem.
And then the remainder of that line item is the $150,000 for the park golf shop to finish off.
that's just the park side of it, and we,
Yeah.
well, Elaine said we've already spent over 200,000 so far on the parks maintenance building, and we figure it'll probably be up before the end of the year, so we're kind of thinking we'll still have about 300,000 to pay next year out of the 700,000, so. That's how we're kind of bringing that one up,
and then, on the machinery and auto, they may have caught up, I see that's almost half.
He would like to look at getting a big workman. And then it would be split between the golf course and park.
What?
He called it a big workman.
Okay.
It's like four.
It's got a big dump bed on it, that they use that for, hauling dirt wherever they need to, or sand. Like,
Yeah. He said the smaller workman is the size of like a golf cart,
Okay,
where this one is a little bit more beefier,
gotcha.
can maybe carry
They're
more weight.
expensive, they're like $60,000.
Yeah.
So, we bought one brand new in 2007, and that's probably the one that's. They're
Still there.
place.
Checking, don't trade it.
Let's see, they've been there 18 years, we got pretty good use out of
Get
it.
a Ranger for a little less than that.
Well, I'm wondering too, one thing we need to look at is, I think collectively, I don't know that it, how we factor that into this current cycle, but moving to a program where we're leasing equipment rather than buying new equipment. I think Kelly has seen that there are other guys in his line of work that are gaining some level of benefit by leasing equipment rather than buying.
We did ask if this vehicle could lease through like Grossenberg's, and they don't
No.
deal with these types of vehicles, but it wouldn't hurt to.
Well, a lot of our portal stuff was taking 2 to 3 years to get here, so I don't even know if this will be available. So we are actually looking to see if we can find a used one somewhere in decent shape, but the people that use them really use them and would use them. Well, you find a golf course or maybe a country club type place, maybe that would be a good fit because they like to replace their stuff on a pretty regular basis.
Are there any other questions on the park? Okay, moving right along, we're gonna move to the pool. The increases in the pool, this come from mainly salaries. And in underneath line item buildings and grounds 42501. When the pool opened, there were 43 chairs along the pool for our patrons to use. We are down to 5 that are decent. And I believe it was a large complaint this year. So Kelly would like to increase and purchase $10,000 worth of pool chairs.
Is it just exposure, sun exposure? or-
Yeah, that and just, storage, cold storage and. We
We
don't,
bought them at Sam's before, I think we paid about 150 a chair for them, and they're just plastic, they get beat up pretty good, using them every day, and
6
they no
years.
longer
Yeah,
if you wanted to sit on them, you just have to sit on, there's no recliner at all on them. They broke off, there's no fixing to them, so. Is there more than just the chairs in there?
nope, just the chairs.
Well, we probably should move that down, miscellaneous, just fixed assets too.
Wait,
So
what
I
is
got
that?
something I thought he had something for maintenance in there too.
It's 10,000.
You probably should have something for building and grounds maintenance, so
Okay,
should go buy quite a few chairs for even 5,000, I would think.
You said you bought those things from Sales Club.
Mhm.
Did you say you got a credit card where you get points and money back from rebates? From Sam's?
mhm,
Oh, okay. And that goes into the general fund or whatever?
Yep.
Okay, no problem. So
so
how much are we gonna allow for new chairs then?
he put down 10,000 for the chairs, but,
Is that gonna be enough for 42 or what?
Well, yeah, 16, if I put down 5,000, about 300 at 16 chairs. So if you do 10,000, it would be probably 30 chairs. I
Oh,
think we have about 10 at work, don't we? That which
he
is
said five.
Five.
Was there a plan for that this year? I know there was a 15,000 budget, only less than 1,300 was spent.
So 15,000, he had, last year he had $12,000 pool parking lot chip seal and fog. East and north parking lots, don't chip seal, just seal. And I don't believe that got done.
Okay,
I think Jeff was kind of trying to budget some of that for next year and his logging and chip sealing too.
so are we getting more kids for the pool or less?
So just wage increases.
No, I'm talking about how many people use the pool. Is it more this year or less? The ones that pay the dues?
We had less revenue come in this year for the pool than we had.
Oh, no, I was just wondering.
Right, so this year so far, we brought in $30,141. We typically have at Christmas time where we have that reduced pool pass for Christmas gifts. So I'm guessing I'll probably bring in another 1,000. Last year,
We're gonna do the same thing this year at the pool pass?
We need to decide that. That's not on the agenda tonight, though.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a good idea to think about it in the future. Nothing wrong with it.
any more questions on the pool? Okay, everybody's favorite. Community subsidies.
I'll let you guys go through these yourselves.
So there's a separate packet with a binder clip for community subsidies. It is a copy of their application, explaining what their organization is about, what projects that they may be looking to do in 2025, or what they would like to purchase. Starting with the senior citizen program. Get this. They are looking to purchase one new freezer and one new refrigerator. They have a patio project in the works for spring of 2025, and also some bingo equipment that they're looking to purchase.
We're looking for $7,000 more next year.
So the outdoor patio, they did receive one bid from AMC Concrete to tear out and replace a 44 by 18 concrete patio and pour 4 post hole footings and that quote came in at 10,000. And then, they have the opportunity to purchase some bingo equipment from the American Legion in Elk Point. They do have first dibs on it. I don't have an update on this, but they're hoping to purchase it for some fundraisers and community enjoyment. They did have a question into Tom, if they can actually do bingo as a fundraiser. And so I spoke with Tom and he was gonna look into it, because it's actually bingo is gambling.
I just got one.
I think it'd be a good thing for our community.
I used to go to the VFW years ago.
Mhm.
I mean, that was packed.
Yeah.
I just got one question because I'm a member of the senior center. I was on the board 9 years. One of the things that kind of gave us a loop this year on one expenditure was the insurance went up 300%. I'm just saying the
What
cost
insurance?
for the senior center was like 700. Now they're saying it's over 2,100.
So like, for the building,
Well, I don't know, that's just what they told me, whatever it's for. I'm assuming it's the liability, but I mean,
Don't we own the building?
yeah, but we still got insurance though. The senior center does.
We insure it through the city and then they reimburse with the insurance, but it's the same rate that we pay on all our buildings, whatever that might be, so I don't know. I would assume your value of your building probably increased considerably.
But I go there once in a while for the food, which is good, and then, you know, we seen that it's pretty, clean, neat, and they're trying to make it a little bit more festival, where there's more people coming, so.
so moving along, the community bus service, they are requesting the same, as they did last year, $6,000. And, is everyone familiar with the community bus?
Rocks.
Rocks, yeah, ROCS. Just a community provides transportation for children, general public, seniors, and wheelchairs. This takes the pressure off family to be, well, they will be, independent on their own. Let's see. Next, Bright Beginnings Daycare. Last year, they requested $4,000, and this year they are requesting $7,000. They are currently falling behind financially each month as a result of a grocery costs. In 2023, their federal food subsidy was cut in half. The daycare used to receive reimbursement equal to $1.65 per breakfast served and $3.12 per lunch. Effective July of 2023, the daycare receives 60 cents per breakfast served and $1.90 per lunch. The annual financial impact of this is approximately $14,000. In 2023, we raised parent fees, which will compensate for about half of the increase. A subsidy from the city would help offset this food burden. Then moving on to community education.
Beresford PRC, Watch Public Preschool, I think that's what they, actually, we used to call it community education, but this, they said send it in under Beresford PRC, Watch Public Preschool. So,
Last year, they requested 27,500, and this year they are requesting 40,000. Their notes read, Watch Puppy Preschool is the only preschool in Beresford. Research shows that children who attend preschool are more likely to be successful in school when compared to those who do not attend. In 2023, Watch Puppy Preschool ended the year with a $69,000 shortfall. This spring, the PRCE board took the following actions to address the deficit. 1, cut 1 full-time employee staff. 2, increased enrollment rates. 3, experienced an increase in enrollment. This subsidy will help offset any deficit that may occur. Beresford Baseball Association. Last year, they asked for 10,000, and this year it stayed at 10,000, and this is to continue running the BBSA, which provides baseball and softball opportunities for over 200 Beresford youth ages 5 through 18.
Is that gonna go up with the new field or the coaches, or we gonna have to hire more?
you're falling under, or not paid.
Oh, okay.
Those aren't paid, they're volunteer.
Oh, okay. No big deal, thank you.
The next one is the city fireworks display. I put in there 4,500, but I know that there was some discussion about possibly getting some sponsors to do the 2025 display. Didn't know what your thoughts were on that, if you. The next one is COIF. It's Community Outreach for Youth and Families. Last year, they requested, no, subsidy. And this year, they're looking for $5,000 because they are looking to create a community, in positive influence by, hosting the annual community BBS, faith and football, school symposiums, speakers, self-defense class, which will be held in the school. And they would, in 2025, they have a goal of bringing a keynote speaker event to the school and community. This would promote not only our students, but also area community members through bringing people together and encouraging them in life.
So this is for one event?
It's to help with those community VBS, faith and football, and the self-defense class.
Yeah, but it's what, one class, two classes?
Well, I think VBS is a week or 2 weeks, I
I
don't
think
know.
it's 1 week.
It's 1 week in the park for kids of all ages, and then faith football is a single evening. I believe, for the public events. And then, I mean, they're saying speakers, I don't think they have any more in self-defense. We could find an easier way to do that.
Police department.
Yeah, you might sure teach self-defense.
So we had a couple over the years at the golf course, when we had some, Jim had some people come in, you know, about drugs and narcotics and safety and everything else, and it was a packed house.
You know, as these different organizations are applying for the subsidies, I wonder. Are we asking them what sort of grant opportunities they've explored? You know,
So continuing on, the Beresford Cemetery Association requested $1,500 last year, and they are requesting the same amount this, for 2025, and that is just to continue the ground maintenance at the cemetery. The Beresford Chamber of Commerce last year requested $3,500, and the next year they're requesting 5,000. And that the funds will be used to fund events such as the Flannel Fling, Trunk or Treat, Old Fashioned Weekend, and looking to expand the Christmas celebration. The women entrepreneurs requested 1,500 last year, and their request is staying the same for 2025. The requested funds will be used to enhance the beauty of 3rd Street by planting and maintaining the flowers along the decorative pots along the 3rd Street, and Christmas planters in the winter. They're also looking to sponsor a holiday walk with kids. I'm not quite sure what that is, and they also do holiday care packages for the nursing home residents.
For what?
The nursing home residents.
Oh, that's nice.
Faith in Action, last time requested 6,000, and for the 2025 budget, they're requesting the same 6,000. Faith in Action serves the community by providing weekly food, personal hygiene assistance at the food pantry, which is located in the basement of the Emmanuel Lutheran Church. Crisis fund assistance, which is assistance with utilities, rent, or mortgage. A monthly $25 fresh food voucher at Fiesta. They organize the Beresford Angel Tree Christmas gifts for local children, holiday food baskets, the backpack program, which is weekly food packs to the Beresford school, students pre-K through high school, during the school year and summer. And they noted that client numbers continue to increase each year. And the last one, Beresford Community Covered, last time requested 3,000, and for 2025, they're requesting 5,000. They noted that currently they have outdated video system. I'm not sure what that is, if it's a security system, but looking to update that. And then she noted company went out of business and need to upgrade. And looking to upgrade pantry software, add a few more shelves, storage options, and keep food stocked.
I got it.
So the total this year for subsidies is $101,500, and in 2024, we budgeted $69,500.
I just got one in for Beresford, cupboard. I did talk to Darla and Joanne. She said that there's 6 days a week, and there's a lot more people applying for the food. I was just giving input. Thank you.
So I don't know if you want to discuss any of these subsidies or if you want to think about it and.
I'd rather think about it a little bit.
I think it's a good idea. We get a chance to look through these applications a little
Right.
closer.
Right, that's what I thought. That's a lot.
And then I know when we discussed this last year, some of the discussion was based around on our overall budget situation. And we haven't gotten there yet, so.
Right,
Thank you. Thank you.
okay, moving on to the library. Jane's library budget has actually decreased and it's mainly due to, she remodeled the bathrooms at the library last year, and so that is no longer in the budget. Slight increase on wages, which affects the FICA and the retirement. Underneath, I see I have it, it should be buildings and improvements, but it got put underneath dues and membership fees. She is looking to do some painting in the library next year. And so where it says 4,000, that actually should be underneath buildings and improvements.
Membership fees?
Yeah, it shouldn't be underneath there.
It should be in the line below.
Yeah. And then she also has underneath, furniture. I must have got off a line, furniture and office equipment, she's looking to update her copier. And underneath computer equipment, yep, I'm off one line there, I need to fix that. For $3,500, all of the computers are 4 to 5 years old. And so she's looking to replace one, if not two computers, to keep them up to date.
So just take the $20,000 bigger library annuity and put 0 there and then move everything down.
Yeah.
The next 4 items down.
Okay.
Any questions on the library?
The salary estimates we're seeing out of these, you put in estimated a 5% increase. Okay, I mean, overall for that, which would include the FICA and other things, because we were talking.
So the full-time salary, on this is just Jane and Barb.
Yeah.
Yep, and I just did a 5%.
Okay,
And on the other ones, though, we were, our 3%, you actually did
Yes.
those, right?
The other ones that are not department heads and they're not part-time, with the union negotiations, I went in and updated all of those to that 3%.
Okay.
And then, the street department who had the dollar and the office ladies, I actually have those true numbers.
okay.
And the police were.
Yep, I got them in there,
Right,
and that's those are true numbers, other than sheet sure.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so if we go to the next one, which is planning and zoning. If you look under line item, other professional services, it's code 42209. Last year, we had budgeted 3,500, and this year we are looking at 13,500. What makes this up is building inspector Gary Rowan, which is approximately $3,500 a year. And then we are looking to hire a code enforcement specialist, Joel Johnson, at $10,000. And then it's a $1,500 retainer, which includes, this gentleman is willing to zoom in and give a presentation. But I went to one of his presentations and was very impressed with, and I also spoke with the city of Marion, who uses him, and is very, very happy with him. He was also at the annual conference in Sioux Falls, and we got to visit with him. Just a great guy, he's got a great business going. But the retainer would include, the first 20 hours of service. And he would do, code enforcement based upon what the council is requesting. I mean, he can do it all. We're kind of looking at dilapidated structures, nuisance property cleanup, which would not be grass, because I don't think he'd be here every day if we were doing grass, and then unlicensed junk cars. They take all the pictures from the street, they do all of the mailing. If the resident calls here, they're directed to directly call Joel himself, and he deals with all of it.
Is this a position that like been open for several years, code enforcement?
Yeah, we did have a semi full-time guy. Yeah, we haven't had that since. Yeah, I mean, when he was here, I mean, they took care of all of the main nuisance stuff, the stuff that takes a lot of follow-up on. The stuff that you probably need to know a lot more about, building structures and things like that. I know Gary can do that, but he's not gonna follow up like this guy can. I mean, once you start that condemnation, I mean, you gotta have somebody on that thing going on a regular basis, otherwise it just gets kind of pushed underneath the carpet and rug, you know, so I think this guy could do it. I mean, he's been doing it now. Many communities, he's not the only guy, he hires extra guys to do that.
He's got staff underneath it.
Yeah, each one's gonna have different areas, so Joel may not be our guy, he's based out of Burke, South Dakota. He may not be the guy that we use, he might have another guy that he hires if he has no business and clients down there. I think Al's sister just hired him to do some work over there.
So this would be a 1,500 retainer and then like another 85 up to if needed.
Yeah, okay, and obviously, if we don't wanna go after anything more than just the dilapidated structures next year. And that's where our goal is to take care of the 6 or 7 that we have right now,
Okay.
and the cleanup around the yards, guys that just. You can sit there and look at it and they never do anything other than just keep piling it up outside, so this is the one we go after. I put a little bit of money in there for cleanup too. You know, if you have to tear one down, $5,000 is not gonna go very far, that'll probably pay for. That's gonna pay for cleanup in somebody's yard that's has a bunch of garbage sitting out there, but. To tear a house down, you're probably talking $10,000 to $15,000 by the time you're sitting down with that, so.
So likely this would be an increase that we would see ongoing.
I would estimate it would be, yeah.
Okay.
And you can probably even budget more if you wanna go further than that. At one time, we were budgeting 25,000 a year for this project to tear houses down and the code enforcement, so.
In consideration with the discussions we have about following up on questions and so forth, whether it be garbage or something else, it sounds like a good idea to have a specialist do that follow-up work.
Well, and it's his job, he does it all the time,
Yeah.
so he knows the ins and outs.
So he comes in here and
Mhm.
he looks at it and he takes it for what it is, you know, if he's in violation, doesn't care who it is.
And I mean, if you just want him to come in and just do dilapidated structures, that's the only thing they'll do.
I think you should do an assessment of the whole city and tell us what he thinks. I mean, there's more than just dilapidated
Yeah.
structures.
So was it the city of Faith?
Yeah.
He's.
He issued 300 and some out of 700 properties,
Yeah,
they kicked him out of town.
yeah. He made the news.
Never got cited.
Yeah, they went 100%.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad idea. Actually, an overall assessment, it might give you some idea of what to look at, and maybe space out over, over 4 or 5 years and plan for it.
And we don't mind doing grass, I mean, that's pretty simple, picture here and hire our guy to go and take care of a bill, that sounds pretty easy. And that's 3 days, these other ones are, it's a month, 2 to 3 month follow up on some of that stuff.
But he's willing to either zoom in and introduce himself and his business and what he will do
And we picked him. Oh,
so he's well known across the state of South Dakota. In his business, and just a lot of communities are starting to hire him. And so I met him at a conference and then I brought back his information and shared it with Jerry. Then Jerry met with him at the annual conference.
Yeah,
I got one question on this general fund revenue. Lately, a lot of people have been talking about police tickets and money. And it says police fees, 11,000 budget for 2025. Where's the ticket revenue from the Beresford Police Department? Do we get any revenue from a
So
ticket?
you're not in planning and zoning anymore? You're in.
No, I'm in a general fund revenue.
You ready to move on?
Are you ready?
Ready to move on.
Okay.
I'm ready to move on. Well, I'm just asking because a lot of people are asking me, you know, with the tickets house that's structured to the city. You know, for the tickets, do we get a penny from any tickets or we don't get a penny or?
So if you wanna go back to the very first page that says general fund revenue, and if you go down to where it says police fees, which is code ending in 3421. That is, all the parking tickets, the police. issue.
Oh,
And also if they serve any papers or if they do any police reports and they get revenue, all of that goes into that code.
so the budget for the 24 is somewhere about 15, we're at 16 above it. And now the budget for 2025 is at 11,000. Give or take.
Well, it's an estimate.
Okay.
No, you said the federal overtime grant money is being run through there,
Yes,
right? So I mean,
yes.
we might have collected how much in federal overtime grant money, and that's 16,987. So there's probably about,
Well, I'm trying to open up my notes here.
Well, I just wondered, it's okay, we don't have to be specific, just so we know what it's at.
we're out of sync now, aren't you? You want to jump us all the way down the line?
Oh, what's the bottom? Sobering fund?
Yeah. And so what we've collected is mainly the federal overtime grant money.
We don't get a lot of money off parking tickets. We don't get a lot of them.
Well, I mean, moving tickets, what I'm referring to.
For speeders, we don't see much of that money, do we?
No, goes to the state.
And we might get it back through, some other county taxes or something like that, I don't know. Probably where your law enforcement grants come from and all that, so we don't see a lot of it.
So if you go back up to the line item that says grant playground equipment and it's $50,000. That is that land water playground equipment grant. That we received for the North Ball Field. The rental revenue line item. 41,700, that is made up of. The American Tower, they rent the land out by Sunderland. The Beresford telephone switch building pays the city 16,500 a year for their. And then the farmland, which we currently have 68.79 acres. So that dollar amount is made up of those three.
Rental revenue, that's the total of those together.
Yep.
Okay.
So continuing down to,
I just got one question on the rental. Are we raising the rental for next year on that farmland or we didn't go that far yet?
We got 225 an acre, so if you wanna increase it, we can. I mean, I don't know, it's a hard one to farm just because it's in the patches, so
Oh,
it's not a, you know, these guys like to come in where they can plant 24 rows of corn at a time, so.
all right, I was just
No,
asking.
it's, we did raise it last year to 225, so,
I just, I thought we raised it recently anyway.
yeah, we did.
Did you comment on why that rental revenue is down about 13,000?
we have less land rent.
Okay,
With the Dolan Land Exchange.
Oh,
They're picking up,
Yeah.
they're picking up some of the acres, 75 acres up there that we won't be able to farm. The only question we still have though is, will the Development Corporation take over the the Dolan farm? There's 37 acres over there too, so they may rent that out. And, the Development Corporation, that's the only revenue they have, is from the 48 acres of land that they own and rent out, so. I don't know if you guys wanna take that away from them, or if you wanna allow them to collect the rent and continue to do some things on that side or not, that'll be up to you guys if you want, how you wanna do that, but we'll most likely will keep it in the city's name, for tax purposes. Vehicle gets too many assets, then they won't start taxing this, so we have to fill out different forms to keep from taxing us on that side of it.
It would seem to me that if we have some sort of development partner that, or see an opportunity to do that, that might be something to maybe look at that revenue.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
But that's up in the air for the next year, so.
Okay, so then if you make your way down to the sale of fixed assets, the code 3913. This dollar amount is made up of the sale of 101 and 103 North Third Street, which is this building and the building next door. We estimated 200,000
For both buildings,
for both buildings, yep.
we'll get a true estimate coming up here, but I would think that's probably gonna be in the ballpark based on what other ones have sold for around here lately.
The sale of the park department pickup, which, we're estimating $2,000. In return, they will receive a truck from the street department, so usually the street department hands down the vehicle and then last vehicle gets sold off. I think Kelly would really appreciate a different pickup. Sell the police department Tahoe, we estimated 5,000. Sell the case backhoe in the street department, and we're estimating 15,000. Sell the street department 1990 single axle truck that Keats drives, that estimated at 4,000. And sell the street department 1999 single axle truck that Tanner drives for 8,000.
And they can bring more than that, we're just kind of throwing numbers out there, try to help balance the budget. Did you want the transfers in at all?
Not yet.
Okay,
Do you wanna take that one?
sure. We've got, I guess we're gonna look at the rest of our revenues or the enterprise accounts, and we only really transfer anything out of electric, telephone, and the solid waste, so. And in that 948,000, we'll be doing some transfers from there, but we also, for Jeff's equipment that he wants to buy, they've got some money that we've put into reserves over the last 5 to 10 years that haven't been spent yet, so that money would be coming out of there, about 202,000 there. We anticipate taking 325,000 out of the telephone profits, electric profits would be 391,000. And this solid waste, which is garbage, is 30,000. And all those will help support everything else that was done throughout the community, all the different projects that we got going on. Obviously, we don't have enough in property taxes to take care of a $3.1 million budget. That only takes care of 895,000 of it. So we have to come up with those funds somewhere else, and that's where we would anticipate taking those dollars. And it's nothing that we haven't done in over the past few years. We've been doing that for years and years, and that's how we end up balancing our budget each year, so.
Has there been any further discussion or concerns regarding when you talk about electrical as an enterprise with our mega user, the computer farm? They're just chugging along.
They haven't been open now for
I think we're going on
3-4 months.
4 months.
Okay,
So we're basing all of our projections on not having them open next year, so.
okay, all right.
So on there,
Who's that?
the elect,
Bit home.
Bid home.
Bitcoin mining.
Oh, they're not running right now?
They have,
Oh, really?
they have one, they told us that in order, there's a break even order, the number for them about 75,000 a coin, and it hasn't gotten there yet, so. When it got down to 50,000 a coin, they were losing money by
That's
buying.
not our problem.
That's why they're not open.
No, it's just, it's money in, money out as far as electrical purchase and usage, so.
They still got sewer, water, maybe,
They still gotta pay electricity. They're still out there, but they just don't use it, they don't use what they did.
Now, did they reimburse us for the, what was it, the transformer?
We took the transformer back, so we haven't. We never did install it,
Okay,
so, I mean, if we wanted to sell them, that transformer, we could probably make some pretty good money on it, but. To find another one, it might take another 2 to 3 years to get us, so we just will hold on to it.
It costs us way more than what this one did.
Yeah, it's gonna cost about $100,000 more than what we paid for this one. Wow. And just, that's happens in a year and a half.
Yeah, we could make good money on it. My company would probably buy it.
Yeah.
Fair.
Or especially when it takes 2 to 3 years to get them,
Yeah.
it's a challenge.
Are there any questions on the revenue for the general fund?
I mean, overall comments, I'm very pleased that, I mean, the budgets are held in line very, very well.
We try. It's a long process. I started working on this in July. Okay, so we will move on to the enterprise, which is the other packet. It starts with the water department. I'm gonna switch my. Brown here. It's weird.
We've got a few holes still filling on the revenue side of the water budget, just because, we've had some unknowns out there right now, and, we're not using any, we can't use revenue from the water or the sewer department to help balance our budgets, so. And these enterprise accounts aren't quite the same as, the general fund accounts. The general fund are all tax driven revenues, so those are, we handle them just a little bit different. They have to be, we have to have the first reading and all this kind of stuff, but these we usually just publish along with that. They don't necessarily have to have a reading one way or another. We just usually publish these along with whatever our other budgets are, so.
There's a couple of questions, Jerry, on the water and sewer, is it one of the personnel get part of the water and sewer for labor costs?
What?
The water and sewer money, isn't one of the workers, I thought it was part of the electrical and part of the water?
So the salary that comes out of the water is Keith Kropinski and 70% of Kathy Stussey's.
Right, that's what I thought, yeah, that's what I thought, so some of it does come, but not a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all right, thank you, wanted to clarify.
Are they, on the meter, amount, that's down significantly? Have they caught up or?
Yes,
So
they
they-
made the large purchase of getting all of those auto reads, radio reads,
Yeah.
and so the majority of that project is complete.
It's complete, okay.
So then if you go down to line item engineer services, code 42201. That is, oh, come on. $10,000 to hire, which we approved to hire Banner Associates to do a water facility plan to evaluate alternatives to fund the Lewis and Clark rural water, or not rural, regional water service expansion project that is planned for payments in 2025 to 2031. So that's what the increase from 2,500 up to 12,500 is.
I think if you guys remember that, we've shared some of that information here a few months ago, but we gotta pay $90-some thousand next year for the expansion, and then it goes up considerably the next 2 or 3 years to the point where we're by the end of the 2031, we're paying over $3 million for that expansion, so we gotta figure out how we're gonna pay for that. We don't have revenue coming in enough to cover out into that kind of, our water bills would be through the roof, so we gotta figure out different ways to pay for that, and what they're gonna help us with is to look at different items that we possibly can work with other, maybe another municipality or maybe like, I'm trying to think who they are. Some of the other regional water buyers, South Lincoln Rural Water would be somebody, obviously Harrisburg is growing a lot faster than the water reserves that they put out there, so maybe they'd be willing to buy it at a premium. They know what it costs, and we know what it costs to do this expansion, but for a period of time, until they get their water, they might be willing to pay for that extra water that can come through either from Sioux Falls' pipelines or from their own the hookup they have with the rural water system. So anyhow, we're looking at that different options, and that's what Banner's gonna try to help us walk through, because that's a lot of money to come up with a water department that doesn't make money to begin with, so.
With that income, that would show up potentially in what bulk sales?
It could be, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Right now we sell primarily to the dairy. We don't have any of those other people that are buying from us.
Okay.
We use Play Rural, we just reel some stuff through for them, but we're not making any extra money off the water that's being sold. It's not our water they're using, we're just going through our meters to do that, so.
Is there potential to increase rates to the dairy?
We got a contract in place for a while, so I don't know if that's something we can look at or not. I think it was a fairly long-term contract. But what we can do is when Lewis and Clark raises their fees, and we can raise ours in accordance with that.
Okay,
That water doesn't go, it goes through to us to South Lincoln Rural Water, and they turn around and sell it to the dairy,
okay,
because it's in their service territory. And South Lincoln is a member of Lewis and Clark also, so that's how that worked out, but we don't make a lot of money on it, I'll be real. That was put in place when we were selling much water in the winter time, but we're still paying all the fees, like, because we had a guarantee that we're gonna buy 218,750 gallons a day. And then in the winter time, we're only selling about 110,000 gallons, so we have to still pay for all that extra. So we said if we could sell them 200,000 gallons and they pay for that every day, then someone's paying that and we're not losing that money. So that's why that was put in place. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff gonna happen here with this water over the next 10 years. Everyone's gonna be wanting it, and it's gonna be harder and harder to get. Look at the guy, was it Sibley that just got on?
Yes.
After they've been a member since 1990, and they finally got their water.
so there's potential to make money.
So that was the reason we went into that.
Right.
At least make enough to pay for all their expansion,
Right.
plus a little bit extra.
So underneath the LNC added capacity charge, the line item 42951, that is, that 90,384 is the expansion payment that is due in 2025.
What was that number again, like?
$90,384.
Oh, okay, got it.
So really, the budget didn't change other than, the decrease in meters, like Larry noted, but. Does anyone have any questions on the?
What's the LLC lobbying charges?
Lewis and Clark lobby charges. We pay Lewis and Clark to lobby for us.
Okay, all right.
We don't really want to go over the water revenue yet, because we still got a bunch of holes to
Yes.
fill in here, and
Lots
just to tell you, we did not have a good year selling water.
Why?
We did not sell much water this year, it was too wet early on, and then I think people just gave up on it later in the fall. So we didn't sell much water, so it's gonna reflect, historically, if you look at our residential water fees and commercial water fees are pretty steady. This year, we're not seeing that, so. So we've got a little more work to do on the water side, that's gonna be a tough one this year.
And what about that $37? Is that on here?
That's sewer.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we'll skip to the electric expenditures. So if you go down to line item that says meter repair, it's code 42506. Last, in 2024, we had 0 budgeted, and in 25, we're budgeting $10,000. And that is because Mike is going to do a commercial meter testing. Which will just test all of the commercial meters to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the meter and that it is reading correctly. It's been a few years since we've done this, so It just helps to find the health of the meter and if there's any broken wires or any issues with it. The line item pipe, he increased it by $5,000 for the Bach housing development.
Which one?
Pipe,
42606. Yeah.
You know, and typically the developer is quite responsible for paying for these type of things also. We hope that once we get going, that we can do some of this, we got a tip we're gonna get. And we can reimburse them for the cost of some of those materials, probably not their labor, but some of the materials we're hoping to reimburse them for. It's just gonna take a little longer to pay the tip back, which rather than a 12-year payback, it might be a closer to that 20-year payback. We take all the different items that we have out there. That we're gonna be putting into this, because there's a lot of transformers we need to, and I think we've already bought right now, so.
Is that expenditure for those poles to rewire by 46 and 13th on here or no? I thought we're gonna sub that out.
That was already done, that's done this year.
Okay, so,
No,
all
I mean,
right,
here.
sorry.
You're fine.
so then if you go down to meters, it's code 42649. Last in 24 it was 12,000, he's increasing to 17,000, and that is to purchase 2 new gatekeeper meters. The gatekeepers are placed strategically around town to collect all the electric readings. And their life expectancy has expired and they need to be replaced, and they are very expensive. We have 4 of them, and he's looking to replace 2 of them. We've had a lot of issues with them just this last year, just stopped working. And we'd have to go reboot and troubleshoot them, so it's time to replace them. The hydroelectric power, which is the next line item down below, 42650. In 2025, there is going to be an increase of 7.5%, and in 2026, there's gonna be an increase of 6.2%.
13% plus
In the
over
next 2 years.
2 years.
And then the next line item below, supplemental electric power, code 42651. Missouri River is proposing a 5% increase for 2025.
So your hydropower comes from Wappa, and then the other one comes from Missouri River. Missouri River, they're the ones that get sent the bill to us, and then it just breaks it down. And the hydropower, we can't get any more, that's the cheap power. So we're only allowed so much each year, and then you can see we're usually you can see where it was 306, 306, 306. Then went up to 352 because they had an increase at one time there. And now they're proposing another increase, so their operational costs are going up too.
So on the supplemental, the estimate is a little lower than last year, but there have been some, I don't know, maybe 2022 was an anomaly.
That's when the Bitcoin guys are going.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're backing it down
Yeah.
for the Bitcoin people.
I see, okay, thank you.
Pre-bit home electric consumption.
They pretty much started in 21, 22, 23, and then they're final on finishing up this year.
So if you go down to underground hardware, it's code 42654. In 24 is 30,000, and Mike is increasing that to 55,000. He wrote that it is mainly for the Bach development. It's a PME switch. It was ordered and to be delivered in 2025, and that cost us 24,950. And then just the material increase.
On that back, are we doing all the install for the utilities, or are we subbing that out?
The water and sewer will be storm drains and roads will all be subbed out. We'll do a bid for that.
The power?
We have to do our own, we'll install all our own
Electric.
electric,
And
telephone,
telecommunications.
fiber, all that.
And then underground wire, same thing.
Yeah,
Now, you mentioned that we'll get some sort of development. There will be some responsibility financially on
Yeah.
their side for electric.
Yeah, that should be.
yeah.
Add transformers, has that been like an upgrade and now we're reaching the end of that project?
So I believe, last year, Sioux Corp did an addition along with Rosenberg's.
Okay.
And so that's why it's looking like a decrease. For 2025, he has just for the Bach development.
Okay,
We get reimbursed for half of those transformers typically on the commercial side, so.
Mhm.
We'll show some revenue somewhere else for that.
He's got one question. Didn't we get partial grant on some of that stuff for that block project? Or was it 1,100,000 or something?
Yeah.
Is that part of electrical and sewer water or?
We're gonna probably fund most of this through the tax increment financing. We didn't apply for electric for that because that's kind of a different entity. They'll help with water, sewer, that kind of stuff, but they don't help with electric or telephone.
Okay,
That's up to the individual providers to do that, and then they charge the developer for those services, so.
So if you continue down below where it says other current expenses, code 42900. 2024 is $1,350 and he's increasing it to $11,350, and this is for the Missouri River rate study, which is, it costs $20,000, but it's a 50-50 cost expense with Missouri, so we would have to pay $10,000.
And they're advising us what we need to increase rates by to stay ahead.
I have started to share quite a bit of information with them already for that study.
Water stuff we did too.
Yeah. Mhm.
A lot of stuff.
Lots of shared data.
so that study will look further down the road then?
Yeah, they'll have a
Future.
recommendation probably for the next 3 years is what they'll do at least. That's what we have in the past.
The
We
dues,
typically don't like looking at them because they're big increases, so.
Well, you don't wanna get behind
No,
either, so I mean, that's.
no,
really-
it's we
always-
have.
Yeah,
We
a
have
little
that.
bit's a lot better than,
Yeah.
when we do the 17% increase, that's not a fun night, but meet with those people.
So continuing down, building and improvements, code 43200. 2024 was 10,000, and in 2025, he's looking to increase it to 25,000. For an installation of concrete in the yard, and that's just where the transformers sit, so they would not be sitting on gravel anymore, move it to concrete.
We try to do a little bit each year, but
Yeah.
we can find it in the budget. I know we took a lot of them. And all those transformers we just got for the block housing, he's got them all stacked up nicely off the ground, so.
Machinery and auto code 43600. 2024 is 40,000 and he's increasing it to 50,000. He is looking to purchase a Larson cable trailer, which will help wind up and pull the wire. He received a quote from Sourcewell for 47,000. This trailer can also be used in the telephone office.
For point fiber.
Yeah, so it wind it back up and unwind before you have the right speed, otherwise you just pull them. It's what it job, so.
Yeah.
I think the one they have, I know the first one they made was homemade, and I think they bought a ball in here quite a few years back.
Any questions on the electric?
Or the new construction for just anything in
He does
general.
not have a note on
I
there.
think that's, we always gotta put something in there, because somebody's gonna want something done, and we don't have it, we.
Yeah, it's just underspent on that one, so is it just a placeholder?
Overall, he's under what he was for last year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We do have 120,000 in the reserves too, he wants to start working on
Oh, I missed that.
replacing his, bucket truck, which will be. I think it's like a 3 or 4 year wait to get one, so he would like to start putting some money aside for that.
Yeah.
By then. These bucket trucks, seems like they're about 10, it seems like they should last forever, and they actually keep running by the time after they get so long, it's a little harder to get certified and also to, replace parts and things, so.
Is this the one that got wrecked last year?
That'd be the same one, yeah.
Yeah, so he's putting away $100,000 for this, this new truck with an estimated delivery of 2027. And then also the $20,000 would be the fire department contribution to repay their fire truck loan.
What do the bucket trucks cost?
300,000,
Okay.
and that's the estimate.
He's probably gonna lock it in, doesn't he, if he's gonna get one? I think he said something needs to lock it in, so.
He currently has a spot saved.
Yeah.
for a 2027 delivery. With the estimated cost of 300,000.
So with that money set aside. And that you were just talking about. That doesn't come out of the 219 estimated difference, that's built into the budget prior to that, okay?
Any electric expense questions?
We're not hiring any more people for that.
This salaries is just the current staff.
No, I mean, we're not hiring any more full timers for spring.
He did put on one summer.
Oh, okay. How did you know? Oh, for next year,
Yep, summer 2025.
okay.
Electric revenue. The residential electric sales code 3821. We factored in a 2% increase, possibly more when Missouri River provides the rate study.
Yeah, they did make a recommendation to us last Thursday to increase it by 5% overall. Just over half that increase would recover the increase in purchase power costs from WAPA and Missouri River. And transmission rate increases, the rest of the increase would help flex some of the lost margins due to the Bitcoin customer shutting down and other inflationary costs. This made note that the last rate increase was implemented in January 1st, 2017, so. They won't have the rate study done, but that's where they feel more comfortable with that number. We put 2% in there because Elaine and I said it's way easier to do a 2 or 3% increase a year than a 6 to 10% increase a year.
They recommend 5 though.
They do, yeah, and we do not have those numbers in there. Another 5% would generate approximately $43,000 extra on the residential side and $81,000 on the commercial side.
When would that decision need to be made?
We can make that anytime, I guess. You know, we're still, our budget is gonna work even without that. It's just a matter of, you know, we typically would have so much left over at the end of the year. We're not gonna have as much as we normally would. And just cost materials, if you know, it's just through the roof. You know that.
Mhm.
You can see these things every week when he goes to get a bid. It's like, oh my gosh, what? It's 5-10% more each week. It seems like sometimes on some of the equipment that he got, the materials that he has to have. So we will just kind of leave that with you guys, and we'll probably talk about that again or next meetings.
So you built in to the say 2%?
We did a 2%, yeah.
But they're recommending a 5.
They are.
And then still 5% after that?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
I would say that's just for next year. We'll work through the 5, and then they'll probably move their study from that point forward.
Yeah,
We won't see this for probably, it usually takes about 6 months to study that.
I thought they said early spring.
Yeah, that sounds about right then.
Any revenue questions on electric? Okay, moving on to expense code for sewer. So in the sewer department, this would be Cameron Vogelai and Renee Goltz. If you go to line item lab testing services code 42205. It was in 2024, it was 6,000, and Jeff increased it to 15,000 due to a new required testing 6 times a week. And if you go down to sewer manholes, 42546, it decreased from 10,000 in 2024 down to 1,000. They have no plans for sewer manholes in 2025.
And the same with the mains.
Yeah, we're doing so much work over here. That I
Yeah.
don't think we're gonna have time to even worry about that. We're gonna be doing $6 million worth of repairs over there, so I think they're gonna be keeping themselves very busy, just trying to keep up with what they got over there when they start these relining and then all the different things going along with that.
Continuing down to line item electric code 42802. In 2024, we budgeted 3,500, and in 2025, we are budgeting 53,600. That is not a typo. We visited with Banner in regards to the Sager system, the new Sager system. And they are estimating that the electric cost per month is gonna be $4,200.
We're on those
Well, we told that in the beginning when we did on that.
I'm sure they talked about electric pumps that were very large. They have two of them that'll alternate pumping all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And we wouldn't even give it a inclination if the around or about what the cost would have been for that project.
I don't remember a number being thrown out hard, I guess.
And it's probably not locked in either. If we're raising up our electric, 2 to 5% more. So does that include the 2 or 5% you're gonna increase? Or is that gonna keep going up every year?
Well, and it's an estimate because
Oh,
it's not, it's not gonna be up and running until early spring next year. And I mean, we just had to throw a number in there, so it's an estimate.
Okay, on the sewer department, do we have the maintenance for that? Out there, like changing the stuff or the rocks, or what's the budget for that? Or is it on here? For the weekly or yearly maintenance?
There shouldn't be too much other than spraying the weeds on top of it, Art, and maybe bringing some additional wood chips in. Which we're gonna have a bunch extra made so that we have them available, so it'll just be our guys loading them on the truck and spreading them out.
Any sewer expense questions? Okay, sewer revenue. I have no notes on the sewer revenue. We did have to break out the surcharges for reporting purposes. So you can kind of see there's not history on those surcharges, and that's why, because we had to start breaking them out.
You're
Regular,
gonna see the residential sewer fees are way below what we have budgeted, but then if you look at, we didn't have sewer surcharges separated at that point in
Yeah.
time, so.
moving on to the Beresford Municipal Telephone. We are trucking along, it's not 11 o'clock yet. I don't, the line item tools, code 21150. In 2024, there was 1,000 budgeted, and Austin has increased it to $8,000 to purchase a new locator. And the furniture and office equipment, code 21220. He increased the budget to $3,500 to purchase a new large format printer. The transmission equipment, code 22310. Was decreased down to $25,000. And he wrote a note, 20% of new servers for the fiber to the home equipment management, leased router management. And DHCP IP address management and bandwidth correcting. I do not know what that is. And underneath underground cable, code 42430. He increased it by $40,000 for supplies for the Bach housing development. If you continue down below to code 42685, which is internet supplies and materials. In 2024, $25,000 he's budgeted, and he's increasing it to $50,000 in 2025. And it is for the same. He wrote 40% of new servers for fiber to the home equipment management. And then if you go down to code 51100 transfers out, that is the $325,000 to transfer to the general fund. He does not have anything to transfer to reserves for savings. And then line item 61210, building repair and maintenance. He increased it by $10,000 because they're looking to put new siding on the 110 West Main garage. And he received a quote from Dakota Construction to do that. So that would be a project that they're gonna take on in 25. And underneath code 65320 network admin expense, we've got again that 40% of new servers for fiber to the home. And that is pretty much. Other than max service fees, code 66230, the increase is due to a 5% increase in 2025. Any questions for the telephone? Expense? Okay, moving on to the telephone revenue. There's not many changes at all. And in fact, I don't even have any notes of any changes that are.
Austin does a really good job of putting all these numbers, he sits down and analyzes them. And they're not off by much ever in a year, so I trust him, really know what he's doing with them, the numbers, so.
Yeah, his budget did not change very much at all. Any questions on the revenue? No, okay. Moving on to the solid waste expense. So solid waste would be our recycling center and our rebel site. We have a couple part-time employees that are coming out of this salary and if you go down to line item 42901 garbage hauling contract, this is an increase due to the new contract with Ruse Sanitation. So in 2025, it's going to be $11,333 a month for an annual of $135,999.
This is kind of a tangent to that. Do you feel that the calls from Beresford residents have gone down at all?
Yeah, it has calmed down a little bit.
Imagine that.
The correspondence has not.
You know, improved.
Hope we might get more people bid next time when they find out. It's $400-some. I'm sure we're gonna get a lot more bidders. And they still won't pick up the garbage on Third Street, do the city has to do that. That's a shame.
Yeah, our Parks Department has
Yeah,
been
that's a
stepping
shame.
up the, and cleaning the garbage containers along Third Street, which is great.
Well, they still miss once in a while. They call me, I'm gonna work, but I didn't say nothing. They did pick it up the next week though.
So then if we
So-
continue down to transfers out, code 51100, the $30,000 is the transfer to the general fund, and that's a down 10,000 from 2024. Any solid waste expense questions? Not, let's move on to solid waste revenue. So there was a rate increase in 2024 for garbage service, and so that's mainly the increase overall for residential and commercial.
Do you feel that that increase will hold pretty much through the life of the Ruse contract, or we're gonna need to bump it?
I think it'll be pretty good, but their increase per year is not all that much.
No.
Okay.
It's just that first initial increase, because I think it's
It
only
hurts.
like $1,000 a year for the next couple of years.
Mhm.
They just, yeah, they didn't go up much. The only thing I can see is if the price of diesel fuel is skyrocket.
Yes,
Right now, we're probably actually getting a credit, aren't we?
we're getting it like an 8% credit right now because of fuel costs are
So
so.
that's helped a little bit to keep it down. So.
Yeah,
And that'll continue on next year if the fuel prices stay down.
any revenue, solid waste question? Okay, moving on to cable expense. I have no notes on this one either.
I think that one, you just look at both sides, that we,
Yeah.
our break even is all we do,
Yes.
we just cover the top of,
Yeah,
providing the service, and that's it.
I got a little
there
bit,
are no wages coming out of this.
I got a little input on that. I did talk to Austin, my vice president on cable, and he made a comment that sometime in January, they might make an announcement what's gonna maybe go on. You know, with the cable and stuff, as of right now, said they don't wanna say too much, but next year, they're gonna probably have a statement on what's gonna happen.
So if everyone's okay with it, I'm gonna skip over the cable revenue. Unless. Moving on to golf course expense. So this is the actual course itself, not the clubhouse, not the event center, but just the golf course. Underneath full-time salaries, we're still researching a little bit of that, new rule that's coming out in January. The FLSA rule, where you have to have a minimum salary. So I did increase his wage for the budget for that purpose. He is.
That represents about, what, 9.5 or 10%?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the part-time salaries, I think they were gonna try to get by with.
They were gonna
Try to
decrease their
decrease the amount of people
summer
they had
help
out there, they thought
down
that.
to,
With the other guys, they got enough people there, so.
Yeah.
I know, like you can see what we paid out last 2020 to 21,000, now this year at 34,000, that's a significant increase over the 25,000 we had budgeted, so.
so if you go down, was there questions on that? If you go down to other equipment repairs, code 42502. I'm wondering if this is in the wrong field, because he was looking to purchase a T mower and a rough mower. I'm pretty sure that's in the wrong field. And then, he is going with Kelly in the Parks Department to purchase venture attachments.
Where's that under?
Well, I think,
Under machinery and auto?
yeah. He has, well, it's under here as machinery and vehicles.
Yeah, if this new equipment should be under machinery and
Yeah.
auto,
I'll fix that.
but that's just maintenance, that's just
Yeah.
strictly for maintaining.
Yep. And then underneath code 42639 chemicals, he's increasing that slightly because, he wants to purchase grub spray. I don't know if the grubs are taken over, or do you have some insight on the golf?
Well, from the golf course, I'm not sure about some of the other park property. What happens every fall is skunks, coons get in, they tear up the sod. They're looking for grubs. They want to eat.
Mhm.
And it does quite a little
Yeah,
sod damage. And that's why you see the traps out and so forth.
Yep.
So,
That's the salt for the watering, compared to the,
yeah, well,
also there's no bugs.
yeah, where the grass has gone dormant, no problem. However,
Yes.
and then if you continue down to water sewer garbage, which is code 42801, that increase is due to the new golf shop. They will be taking over. Underneath other current expenses, code 42900. That increase is the Rainbird program, which is the irrigation system. He got a quote for $6,055 for that program, and then to upgrade the internet, which is another $10 a month, so that is what that increase is for.
That's so he can monitor from his
So he
phone.
can actually, yeah, turn the sprinkler system on and off on his phone.
At the
in
ball
my-
fields or where? The
He can
golf
be at
course.
Sioux Falls and do it.
But I mean,
but-
what's he watering with that?
The golf
and
course,
stuff.
yep, golf
Okay,
course.
I think that's a good question to ask, though, because it might be connected and it's all up and down.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, is it something he's doing, purchasing in conjunction with Kelly or?
I don't know that, it would make sense to.
I have to say, never gonna have to. That's gonna come able to do that or not.
Underneath building and improvements, code 43200. He added $5,000 for a pressure washer and a possible lift.
Got one left already, but. Right there. A left,
Well, Kelly has one in his budget. They're looking to get two,
okay, maybe,
we can ask. I'll highlight that one.
where did this, where did the rough mower go and? Is there actually something in there for that? Those things are like. $60,000 and another. What do you say, greens mower? I mean, those things are gonna be. Pushing probably $80,000 or more. I know, that wasn't actually in there somewhere,
I don't think he has it in there.
it's just something about more, that's at that number, under other equipment or something like that. Our machinery and vehicles, 42503. No, maybe the
He
whole,
wrote
no,
a Ventrac attachment and a rough mower.
that was way over that, so
Yeah.
that must be something else.
That
Something,
would be under machinery and auto, would it?
Unless he's doing some repairs on the rough mower.
well, that's, yeah, those things are expensive.
We can ask him more details on those, I have it noted here. And then if you go down to, line item 43901, new construction, that $150,000 is the, golf portion of the shop.
We'll still have to be paid next
Yeah,
year.
in 25. Okay, so if we move on to the next one, which is the expenses for the Hill House. The main change is line item 43200, building and improvements. $205,000, and that would be what we are estimating. What we will pay Gil Haugen for the patio addition in 2025. The project came in at $425,600. And we're estimating that we'll pay a portion of it in 24. Any other questions on?
So that would, I mean, right now, the expense through the end of January is 3246. So that would be significantly higher. for-
Yeah,
by
we're
the end of the year.
expecting Gil Haugen to submit an invoice before the end of the year. For a portion of the
Okay.
construction.
For whatever he builds
Yeah.
for the fall work,
Yep.
okay?
Is everyone okay with moving on to the revenue to the clubhouse? I have no notes on this. Looks like very little changes.
Anticipating lower income next year.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, with the weather we had in the first portion of the golf season,
Mhm.
it was. Ben was getting worry lines, if no need to, but you could, it was noticeable concern because. Things had gone well the year before, but I mean, you're up against it with the weather.
Right.
Yeah, and traffic was down considerably early.
Fortunately, we've had a decent fall.
Yes, yeah,
But
Well, that's for the, yeah. Between those two lines, 30.
I would think with the patio addition, you'll probably see more traffic out
Those are
there.
memberships.
We hope to.
oh, this green beans and
Mhm.
season pass.
Yeah.
Is everyone okay with moving on to the event center revenue? Or event center expense? Did I skip? Um, There's very little, I have no notes on this one either, there's very little change from 2024 to 2025. I know he hopes to get more events in there, but, competing with different wedding venues in the areas.
has there been any discussions that you offer or somewhere in here on marketing for the space?
So he pays, it's underneath advertising, it's
Okay.
line item 42301, publications advertising.
Event center. 423,
42301,
okay,
other publications advertising.
okay,
I know he does this wedding pro monthly.
Yeah.
I believe he also does some KBHT, the radio station in Vermillion. Other than those two advertising, I don't think he has. There's a lot of engagements at this Christmas time. Get some weddings in there. Any questions on event center expense? We'll move on to the event center revenue. Kind of anticipating a decrease of $4,000. I have no notes other than, he thinks just the decrease of events will also decrease the sale of wine, liquor, and beer. That's pretty much where the difference is. It's in liquor.
You sandbagging.
well, yeah, the patio is a moving target, and no, that, it should affect that, but it's hard to say how much and exactly how.
The key is knowing how to staff
Yeah,
for the new patio. And keeping people there. Yeah,
I mean, beyond staffing, it's, the food and beverage portion and, the menu's fairly simple right now, but
yeah.
we get a few more customers, they may want a little bit more variety. And these are things I'm getting into space that I don't understand, but
yeah,
probably warrants at least a deliberate discussion about better ways to market the event center, better ways to make sure that you can staff for and provide service for the new patio.
So that is a wrap.
Good job,
And it's
great
not
job.
11 o'clock. Yeah, there's a lot, yeah. Jerry and I worked pretty hard.
That's a lot of work.
There's a lot of numbers.
Yes, and a lot of,
Moving.
What ifs.
Moving numbers.
lots of anxiety, lots of nervousness.
do we need any action at this
No,
point?
no.
Is this considered a first read then?
Nope.
No, we'll come back with some of the changes that we talked about here and maybe some more information. We'd like to be able to do a first reading, the next one. But
Mhm.
once you do that first reading, you can't really change a whole lot for the second reading. So we want to be pretty accurate and
Yeah.
be comfortable with at least the general fund. That's the one that we have to be the most worked up. As far as the enterprises, water, sewer, those aren't as crucial. I mean, if we overspend in them, it's not like we have to try to figure out where the money's gonna come from. We can just take that out of existing cash on hand in that department. So those aren't quite as crucial, but
Well, we do a first reading in November then, probably.
Well, we'd like to do it first,
First meeting.
the next meeting.
Oh, yeah, we're next week.
Yeah, then we have to have a second one at our next meeting, and then we have to get it off the state,
Okay,
on state, yeah.
Depending on election results, there wouldn't be anything in that outcome that would impact 25 anyway, correct?
Well,
Oh, yes, there would be.
oh, yeah.
There would be. I
Yes.
didn't know if there was a delay on the implementation.
Yeah, so we may have to do a special meeting.
Okay.
After the election. Due to that vote,
I am 28.
I am 28.
Okay.
We kind of,
it would affect, well. I think one that would affect the most. About $85,000 is what it would cost us on the second penny, so. And we find a lot of our main projects are all funded by that, just second and third penny. So,
What's the vote looking like? I haven't seen numbers.
I don't have to sit down on that one at all.
Freeburg's office did speak at the senior center, and almost everybody I talked to out there. They were clarified, if you think you're gonna get this, there might be a state tax, there might be this or that. So everybody I talked to was just about a packed house. They said they're not gonna vote for the erasing of the food tax, they're just gonna leave it the way it is, that's the input I've been getting.
If it passes, there'll be attorney's fees all over the place.
I think it's gonna take at least a year to get it implemented anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's not clear.
and if you have any questions after tonight, just shoot me an email or a text and I'll try to answer them.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. We could have filled you guys with more stuff and you'd probably want to look at, so. I mean, our files are typically about this thick of all the different, things we got. We try just to summarize it as best we can for you guys. I know it's a lot of stuff to go at you in one night, but this is probably the one that we're gonna need the most help on right here.
Yeah.
Because, we don't like telling people that they don't get that, that's your guys' decision, right?
Well, and Sarah and I sit on PRCD, so we can add some discussion on,
Yeah.
particularly the community ed side.
I think we can make those adjustments next meeting. Elaine can probably put them on our computer as we go through them.
Yeah.
Once we agree to what they could be, and then we'll just adjust the final, or the first reading of the ordinances, we'll put that together, and we'll have that for you.
Yeah, my only
Our computer
question,
does all that.
my only question was, the mayor made a good point that we could maybe contact the police chief to see if there's any way he could maybe come up with somewhat personal protection a little bit.
There was that request for self-defense.
Come on,
That was
if
by
they-
the CO.
COY, community, or no, CY.
It seemed like it was a little bit of a.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of different, faith and football. Faith and football.
Usually numerous events. It's not like it's
Yeah.
just one speaker that they're bringing.
Right.
And it's open to the community to go to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of the focus, a lot of times is for the young people,
Mhm.
but it is open to the public to go to most of these events, so.
Well, the event I went to with Jim, he did an excellent job at the golf course. It was a packed house. And it was about the police and drugs and safety, and it was a real good course. I mean, it lasted quite a while, and they had 2 or 3 different meetings. And I mean, I was really impressed. The police were talking. I'd rather have the police, if they could spend the time, or if they got a program that we could talk to them, I'd rather have the police issue it than somebody else. They know exactly what's going on. I mean, I'm just saying, maybe we can just ask him if he was interested. If he ain't, then he's not.
Do we know if Ray Beginnings is applying for grants and all that too? I haven't looked at their packet application, but
I don't know if there's grants available because the food one.
For the
it's
community
subs-
foundation, I know they will apply for that. Because PRC applied for that as well.
it surprises me that they would increase or decrease subsidies for food at school.
Well, they increased it for the senior center. They gotta pay more for that lunch you get there. They increased the amount you gotta pay for that program.
Last year we reviewed the subsidies. I do know the one that stuck out to us last year was Chamber. Chamber asked for, I think, just under 20,000.
Yeah,
That was up from previous 3,000. I mean, we want to be able to support that organization. So that they can come back and give us practical examples of how economic development's happening. But I think their increase this year their ask for an increase wasn't quite as high as last year. But
I know in the past, we've just given like a flat 5% increase to everybody or.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's unique, some are asking and for more and some are just keeping it the same, so.
So I have a note in 23 that the council decided to match the 2021 subsidy request less the COIF $2,500 request due to COIF not requesting funds for 2023. So I think you kind of compared it to previous years.
Yep.
And then just started cutting amounts from. It's a very tough decision, because there's all sorts of age groups. For all of these community subsidies, I mean, it's,
Well, I'd like to read it back, like Larry said, like you said, to read it, maybe you come up with some ideas, but like you said, money's money.
Well, let me just from a tax standpoint, we're gonna generate $50,000 more in property taxes for the whole, that takes care of our police, library, that's all we got extra, so everything else has to come up from another source of income, so. When they're asking for almost $35,000 more just in subsidies, that's gonna take just about all the extra tax revenue you get from the property taxes, so we're gonna have to make the rest up either from fees or increasing our electric rates, increasing all these other rates to take care of those type of things, so. That's what you have to look at too, so I'm just throwing that out there, that's a big ask, and,
God forbid if the food tax thing doesn't go right. It'd be
Could
another
you
mess.
have Mike come to the next meeting too and talk about what he knows about rate increase to at least give a pitch and. I think we gotta do something. We can't do it all at once and
no, gosh,
do it incrementally.
Right.
no, absolutely
yeah,
not.
make sure we're feathering it in versus
Yeah.
being accused of slamming everybody all at one time. Any additional business for the council? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you so much.